Hey folks, it's Bill Atkins, part of the Yorahome family. I'm going to try to give you a quick down and dirty video on how I create photos. I did these two today. They were given to me. I loaded them very quick. I ran them very quick. Quite honestly, I'd give myself maybe a B, maybe B plus work, and we won't really talk about why. But at least in both cases, I think I could have gone a little bit darker. But you'll learn at the very end of this video that very seldom do we actually get these right the first time, which is why it's very important to run sample tests before you do a 9, 10, 11-hour burn. Okay, so 5 things you need to know. 1, you got to know your machine inside and out. You built it, after all, okay? So you got to make sure everything is mechanically sound. You got to make sure the belts are tight and not too tight. You got to make sure that the stepper motor can move freely. You got to make sure that it's square. Most importantly is you have to know your tiniest focal point to be as near perfect as possible. All right, I will produce other videos later on how to do a ramp test, but quite honestly, go to YouTube and you can find how to do a ramp test. Very important that you know the exact distance. I know with the diodes, everyone says 1 inch and 1 3/4 inches. That's great. That could be ideal, but you may be at 1.74 or you may be at 1.76. These things, everyone's a little bit different, and that goes with the CO2 world as well. 85% of my time is spent outside of Lightburn using third-party software. Okay, I use Lightroom. Some people use GIMP. I'm going to show you how to use Lightroom and why I think it's really important. But after that, you know your laser GBRL software and your Lightburn software, you've got to be able to manipulate the photo. You've got to become a graphics artist. It's not just a matter of brightness and contrast, and I'll show you what I do when I go through Lightroom. Okay, and then dithering the image. All you're doing is turning it into dots. I use ImageR. Some people use GIMP. Some people use laser GBRL and Lightburn to do it. Again, I personally think ImageR is the best and the easiest, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay, and then you got to know your own settings. Write them down, experiment, go through just an incredible amount of wood. I can't even begin to tell you how much wood we've burned in a fire pit that were failed projects. Okay, but that's what you need to do. All right, so without further ado, I'm not really going to go into laser GBRL and Lightburn that much, but I'm going to walk you right through my process right now. Okay, so first of all, it starts with the image, and I use Lightroom. All right, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to go ahead and reset all of this. Excuse me. Okay, there's my image that I uploaded from today. All right, obviously the first thing you notice, I turned it into black and white. Why I like Lightroom and why I'm willing to pay $10 a month is all these slider controls. I don't even know what 90% of them mean. I know it affects the picture. Okay, I do know a lot of people, especially in GIMP, like to use curves, right? Where you turn the blacks lighter, you turn the lights darker, and you can mess with it that way. Not very good at it. I very seldom actually use that. But here's what I do. Once I've grayscaled the image, all right, I look at the brightness, okay, I look at the contrast. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to visually pick it out. I know when we did this video earlier, or excuse me, when I got the picture earlier, the person who gave it to me said they were really trying to get the detail in the cement. Okay, so maybe that's what I focus on. I've already done this, but again, I'm just going to go back and forth. I may not do it twice every time. I also hear a lot of times that you want to, like with pictures, that people want to whitewash the faces and stuff. I disagree with that. If your lens is ultra focused like it should be, you don't want the whitewash because it shows up as whitewashed on the wood. And Personally, not a fan. As I'm talking, I'm just going through and I'm making these different adjustments the way I think this is going to just take practice. You're going to do some and it's going to look, not the way you wanted it. Maybe you want it really sharp. If you can tell it's kind of yucky. Maybe you want to reduce the noise in it, which is I almost always do. You'll notice how it got kind of clear. All right. Once you do that, I go in here and I save the image. I've already saved it. So now we're going to go to Image R. With Image R, here's how I do it. My Lightrooms are all in here. So let's get to the photo that I did earlier today. And we're going to upload it. That's what it ended up looking like. The pictures that I posted earlier, the pictures you saw on the first slide, this is where it came from. Now, I probably in hindsight would have cropped it. I would have gotten rid of some of the sky, maybe gotten rid of some of the cement. But this is important. You want to resize it 318 dpi. You want to go ahead and size it. I did 4x6. So you want to go ahead and size it to what you're going to do in Lightburn. Okay. So that looks good. Here's the dithering process. It's that little piece of wood right there. All right. In Image R, you have three choices: old, Norton, and new. I always think Norton comes out best. You can play with different ones, and there's different algorithms based off of the material that you're using. So today I used Norton wood. Okay. Now, don't really let that fool you. If you zoom in, you'll see it's fine. Okay. All right, that is not going to show up in the image. I just zoomed out and I just showed you. Okay. And again, if it does, if you don't like it, start over. All right. But since I've already run this, I know it did not show up in the actual engraving. Now I got to save it. Your best bet is just download as a BMP. Which I did earlier. Okay. Second best is PNG. These give you the ability to size up without losing detail. All right. So let's go to Lightburn. Here's the images that I downloaded earlier. Okay. Now talk about settings all you want. They're going to differ. I know I'm easily able to run a lot faster than the diodes. Okay, that's 1 millimeter. That's 100 millimeters per second, not per minute. You guys with laser GBL are usually used to per minute. Okay, this stuff is fine. You got to make sure pass through is on. Okay, if I go in here and I dither the image, it's already dithered. All I'm doing is turning dots into more dots, and then those dots won't equal each other. So you want to run pass through, but you do want to make sure it does say 318 dpi. If it doesn't, take pass through off, change the dpi, put pass through back on. All right. Now in terms of settings, if I do these images over again, I'm probably going to go 16.5. You want to make sure min power and max power are the exact same. Because again, dots are either there or they're not. They're not lighter dots or darker dots. If you put min power very low, then it is going to try to grayscale and you're going to lose a lot of detail. So once you do that, send it to the printer, or excuse me, send it to the laser, and hopefully you will get a decent result. Hit me up with questions, but that's all I got for today. Hope all is well. Take care. Bye.